Hi, my name is Lakeitha Brown, and this is my interpersonal project for Human Services 508. Next slide. My overarching goal is to become a level 1 listener. As I reflect on my journey through this class, I realize the value of what I have learned. This journey has shed light on why people respond to me the way they do and why I communicate the way I do. Next slide. My goal is to not only take what I have learned and apply it, but to keep applying this information and not forget what I have learned. It's hard to break bad habits, but you should still try. According to the Burley Allen text, I am considered to be what he calls an interrupter. I figure the best way to work on this goal is to remember that I have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I will be a more active listener instead of an active talker. Next. Enlarging the conversation. My profession is a registered nurse, and it is key that I have great listening skills. I'm around people when they are at their most vulnerable. So it is very likely that some may want to confide in me or at least borrow my ear so that they may vent. I can enlarge the conversation by being an empathetic listener. Next. My background and the way I was raised affect my everyday communication, whether I want it to or not. I notice that when I have conversations with my mom, she interrupts a lot, and when I listen to her tell a story, I interrupt her a lot. I am an only child and did not have the same communication opportunities to practice listening as some people do with siblings. I have learned that communication is 80% nonverbal, and I have noticed that when I'm interrupting too much or when others are becoming annoyed with me, they may exhibit certain body language. Next slide. Behavior blend. There are 4 types of behaviors or temperaments, D, I, S, and C, that are blended to create a unique personality for every individual. The DISC personality model shows that Ds are dominant, directing, and decisive. Is are influenced and inspiring. S's are submissive and sensitive, and C's are critical, cautious, and competent. My behavior blend is SI. The letter S is described as being submissive and sensitive. I can be sensitive, but not all the time. I am an independent learner that needs to learn at my own pace and needs time to adjust to any changes. I am very friendly and work best around others. The I-type behavior includes verbalizing ideas. I can be very opinionated at times, and this can be overwhelming for some who are meeting me for the first time. People sometimes shy away from me because I'm so opinionated. I have been told that I interrupt too much, and instead of talking and focusing on what questions I will ask, I need to learn to listen more because I can influence others easily when I practice mindful listening. Next slide. Potential barriers. Potential barriers for me are poor listening, advice giving, and unclear messages. I practice poor listening when I interrupt constantly while someone else is talking. I also put advice giving up here because I always want to give advice instead of just listening to others while they talk. I also put unclear messages because sometimes people have a hard time understanding what I'm trying to communicate to them. Fixing barriers. Poor listening. I figured the best way to fix this barrier is to resist the urge to interrupt, be present and attentive, pay attention so one can provide a response when the person finishes talking. Advice giving. I figured the best way to fix this barrier is to resist the urge to give advice and to paraphrase what the speaker is saying and help them find a solution themselves. Unclear messages. I figured the best way to fix this barrier is to repeat accurately and to keep repeating accurately until the speaker is done. Next slide. Solutions to noise pollution, internal and external. Internal. Biased listening. Biased listening is forming an opinion ahead of time about the value of what will be said. A solution to this would be to keep an open mind. Hearing what you want to hear. When one is too anxious to hear something that fulfills his or her wishes or desires, A solution to this was to be present at all times while listening. Resistance to listening. Since our culture equates speaking with power and resistance to listening is considered to be the norm, a solution to this would be to give in and be respectful when conversing with others. External. Room temperature that may be too hot or too cold. Bring a jacket or wear layered clothing would be a solution to this. Outside scenery or activity. A solution to this would be sitting or facing in the opposite direction so you would not be distracted. Interruptions, such as phone calls. A solution to this would be to turn your phone on silent. Voice and speed, or speaking with someone who's monotone or speaking too fast or too slow. A solution to this would be to match the speaker's pace. Deadlines. Do not face the clock when sitting, and do not continuously keep looking at your watch when listening to the speaker. Loud noises such as traffic and machinery. A solution to this would be to sit in a seat far away from the machinery or from the window or from wherever the noise is. Next. Plan of action. The first step in my plan of action would be to take the initiative. It would be to focus on receiving information that the talker is presenting and while providing feedback to show that I'm listening. Next slide. Step 2 in my plan of action would be to work at listening. Practice makes perfect. Practicing will help elevate me to a level 1 listener. Look up any information about subjects beforehand because it takes time to become an efficient listener. Another way to work on this step would be to listen to complex material and practice listen. Next slide. Step 3. Resist external distraction. A way I can work on this would be to be mindful of where I am sitting. To sit in areas that will allow me to see, hear, and concentrate. To concentrate on concentrating. Next slide. Step 4. Hold the rebuttal and don't interrupt. A way I can work on this step would be to be mindful of words that trigger me to put up a defense or guard and cause me to stop listening. Another way to work on this step would be to try to comprehend what the speaker means. Next slide. Keep an open mind. By keeping an open mind, I should not try to jump to conclusions. Everyone has something useful to say. I should try to give the speaker a fair chance and listen, and not be biased. Next slide. In the past, when I would have conversations with my friends, I would interrupt constantly to ask them a question. It got so bad that one of my close friends would say, "Let me finish the story before you ask questions," or "Hold on, let me finish." Now I resist the urge to ask my oh-so-important questions. They usually end up answering the question if I would just let them finish. I practice biting my tongue now and have noticed a difference in conversations with my friends. Next slide. Thank you.